snacks.
We is live.
Of course we are. What it do, snackers and snackettes? It's your boy Gage. Sin is in the house.
Sure.
Yeah, Jokes is in the house.
What up?
See, I switched that up. I just wanted to see if Jokes was paying attention. I just
Yeah,
wanted to see if you was
you
going to
thought I
try
was
to
just gonna
wave when I
randomly
said
jump
you were
up
here
there?
first. I was trying to get you. I tried to get you. You passed the test, sir. Let's see how the rest of the night goes, my good
Ah,
man. Um, it's been a long time since we've had a curveball. I'm not saying there is one. I'm just saying it's been a long
Oh,
time. That's all.
ah. In other words,
That
jokes, we got to stay on our
it
toes.
says on. All right, let me sit
you
up a
shouldn't
little
you
bit.
always be on
Let me
your
sit up a
toes?
little bit.
Yeah, but you know, it's curveball. You got to wrap your head. Okay, what is he about to throw at me? What is
You
this one
never
about
You
to?
know.
ain't gonna know.
You never know. It could be anything.
Curveball gonna
What
hit
up,
us in
Jay
the gut.
Roberts? What's up, Alfonso?
Put on this Friday?
Want to thank you both for supporting us and grabbing shirts from us.
Yes.
Much
Shirt sales are
appreciated.
going well. We are moving through them quite quickly. Again, it is a limited supply, so if you haven't already done that, might want to jump on that while the getting is still good. You are currently watching Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today,
Today.
Today.
oh boy, today. Let me just start by saying I had a whole different show lined up. Whole different show lined up.
Just balled it up
I
and
had
threw it away.
plans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, chucked the majority of it out of the window because for whatever reason, last night, yesterday, whatever, AT&T was just like, Warner Brothers, we don't need that. DC Comics, we don't need that, and just decided to chop
Throw it all
800
away.
jobs like it was nothing. And so, yeah, we had to change gears. Now, not that we wouldn't have talked about some of the folks and things and people that are involved in this in some way, shape, or form,
Mm-hmm.
because I want you to know that DC Fandom was definitely on the docket for us to
Oh,
just kind of talk about expectations or what we thought we were going to see. And we're still going to talk about that because who knows what that means
I
now.
know.
What's up, Kermit? What's going on, Marcus? Um,
Hey,
Man, listen, let me start by saying I want to send out my sincerest condolences to those who just lost their jobs, like out of the
No
blue,
facts.
yesterday,
mhm.
who got laid off in the midst of a pandemic. Um, these are under a lot of circumstances. Rob Van Blake, what's up,
What's
man?
up?
Yes, there was a real apocalypse war yesterday. Um, the there are some executives, a lot of executives who I'm positive got great severance packages and are gonna be okay
Mm-hmm.
for a while, right? They may not get jobs right away, but I'm, sure that there are a lot of people who are going to be done. And you're right, J. Robert Deans, they are not done with the layoffs.
Not yet.
So it's a little bit tricky, but this in a lot of ways is not something we have not discussed already on this show, which is AT&T not being happy with Warner and with DC and with the amount of money that they owe to the tune of multiple billions of dollars, that they are in debt, and how they're going to chop that down. Now, before we get too much deeper into this, I also want to say that the other thing that was on the docket for not tonight's show, but for cutscenes for the next show,
Mhm.
was how we have discussed that, it looked like they were really trying to sell the games
Facts.
distribution portion of
Yeah.
Warner Games, and that over like the last week or so appeared to just not be a thing anymore. They just
Mm-hmm.
weren't going to sell it. Looked like they were going to hold on to it. Um, and so we were going to discuss that and why and what that meant and so forth. But now we may need to talk about that here too. Um, Here's where I'm at. Let me just kind of roll this out. I mean, these layoffs were across Warner Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
DC, HBO. I mean, these are all major companies and corporations, all names and name brands that we know and are aware of, and these
Absolutely.
are like high level, like high positions. So I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to start with kind of the Warner side of things,
Okay.
gentlemen. Again, I'm not. I mean, we are going to get into it. We're not going to dig super deep. We're just kind of talk about what the overall landscape means. But um, here's the deal. So, like, Hollywood Reporter states that the changes arrive as Warner Media, under new CEO Jason Kilar, is putting its newly launched streamer HBO Max front and center. We are going to get to that because
Oh yeah.
all of this seems to be about HBO Max.
Yep.
Most of it, anyway. Hoping to convert many of the linear cable network HBO's 30 million plus subscribers, which cost the same amount. But HBO Max only added 1.1 million HBO customers and 3 million retail customers in its first month. That is not the kind of conversion you're looking for, sir. You got that demon. You got that demon out of your system, sir.
The demon is out.
We talking about something important here. You just decided to have a.
Normally, it's sin that has those moments where you're talking about something that's super important and it just randomly happens.
You okay?
I had that demon.
You good?
I'm good.
Bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So the rollout was hampered by the company's ongoing negotiations with Amazon and Roku about bringing the app to their connected TV devices. More than 2 months after the launch of HBO Max, it still isn't available on either platform. So that is already an issue.
Right.
When you have a streaming service that you expect to be the thing that helps to dig you out of a hole you're already in, and you're not seeing numbers, partially because you don't have distribution in the places you want, which is something we are also going to talk about on Cutscenes as it relates to Apple and them keeping streaming services, specifically towards games, off of their services. We're going to get to that. That's for another day.
Just know that.
But there's a lot of the same kind of similarities happening here. So here's the thing. This says laid off employees include Warner Brothers CFO Kim Williams, Warner Brothers Worldwide Television Distribution President Jeff Schlesinger, and Ron Sanders, Warner Brothers President, Worldwide Theatrical Distribution and Home Entertainment, and Executive Vice President, International Business Operations. These are not.
I would say no.
Yeah.
These are industry veterans. This is not like,
New to the
people
game,
who don't have. Like this. These are not people who don't. I mean, look. To some extent, you have to say, all right, well, if there's a job you're supposed to be doing, and that job isn't working, some heads
we
kind of have to roll.
Yeah.
Let's just start at the top. Anytime you are trying to make up debt, the first thing you have to do is you have to remove the overhead, and payroll is literally the easiest thing to control.
Absolutely.
So people are always going to lose their jobs when that is an issue. And if you are making the attempt to sell properties to make up a lot of that loss and you're unable to do it, I'm assuming probably because you're asking too much for those properties, heads have to roll, because you are paying people who are probably in very redundant roles, especially when you're shifting your gear or your focus towards something else. My question to you gentlemen, first and foremost, is how do you think this is going to affect HBO Max going forward? Do you think this is a good move for them? Do you think we're going to see an uplift? Do you see this not being a long-term thing? Like, what do you think this is actually going to do?
I mean, I think it's going to help a problem. We know money-wise it's a little bit of an issue right now. So, I mean, this is just, I think, the beginning process of trying to fix those things. I mean, end of the day, I mean, you can cut as many people's jobs as you want to, but you still got to have manpower to do said things. Now, just like you said, in combining certain companies, you're going to have multiple roles probably of the same thing on both sides. You don't necessarily need two of one position depending on what it is. So it's like, okay, since the guy at the front is going to be the push for HBO Max, you know what? Well, let's keep the people on the HBO Max side or that HBO side, but the other side, let's chop their roles away, because we don't need to have multiple.
What do you think? All right, look. So HBO Max isn't seeing the numbers they want to see, and again, a lot of that is going to have to do with not being able to appear on platforms like Roku, right? That just are in millions upon millions of homes, Um, what does HBO Max have to do to to? I mean,
I
all
think
right,
they're
you fired
starting.
some people.
I think in the future this will definitely help HBO Max and what they're trying to do with it. But for now, it sucks that yes, a lot of people have lost their jobs. But I mean, let's be real. DC has been struggling for some time now
Yeah.
with a lot of this stuff, from their movies to, what they're doing. Comics, they got to reboot every 2 3 years. The entire universe, they've been struggling with with that and all sorts of things. And
Oh, we haven't even gotten to
I
DC
was
yet.
I
You
was
right?
yeah,
just I was
yeah,
getting
but
ready to
I'm
Oh
go
just saying.
yeah.
there.
Yeah, and you have multiple, you have multiple streaming services
That's the
that you're
basic.
competing with against yourself at the same time. It's just this was going to happen, bringing all this stuff together. Somebody was going to come in and be the surgeon and be like, okay, we're hemorrhaging here, we're losing money here.
Cut it out.
Nah,
Yeah.
nah, we got to go in and get this tumor out and get this company back healthy and going forward. And it sucks that it has to be this way, but it's probably been a long time coming
It's a
for it.
business move. Plain
Yeah,
and simple.
I mean, it's absolutely a business move. Here's the thing. I mean, what J. Robert Deans and Tony Cunningham and Alfonso are all saying about HBO is
Hey,
that they need
Jerry
more
Gaylord
content,
in the house. Look at that.
right?
yeah.
What's up, Jerry?
And I think that's
Is
probably what
that
we're gonna do.
they
Like,
need more content, right?
Hmm.
yeah,
But you're also possibly losing a lot of content because you're not just affecting Warner Brothers. I mean, you still have ownership over the properties that Warner Brothers has,
Hmm.
but you're talking about major layoffs. We're talking Crunchyroll,
I know.
Rooster
That's
Teeth, right? Like we're talking, and like on that note, right? Like we just saw
yeah,
today that major anime studios are banding together to release free anime content
yes,
on
to
YouTube.
YouTube. The channel already exists in Japan, and that is a move mostly to fight piracy.
Hmm.
That's really what that's about, because there are all those channels that or websites you can go to find your anime and whatever. There's always been
Hmm.
places you could go to get it
yep,
because we couldn't get it. All that really means is they're looking for a way to be able to put it in a place where it's their stuff and they can put ads on it so they can
yeah,
monetize it,
Monetize it.
yeah,
right? So that they don't lose that money and they're able to make some money
yeah,
on it.
and that'll help. That'll
That's
definitely help.
that's the same thing though that HBO needs, HBO Max needs. So we're cutting DC. So why do we need a DC streaming service?
I don't
A
even
lot of
know
the
at this point.
most of the product that was on DC streaming services either already on HBO Max or has been moved over to CW,
And
Hmm.
right?
Netflix. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
some of it to Netflix,
yeah,
right? So you've got to do deals there. Um, the 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 idea of making the attempt
No, I
to
didn't.
shave things down so that you can find ways to make money with the product you do have, that ownership you do have, has to happen. So let's dig in a little bit to what it means for DC. All
Hmm.
right. Because almost everybody at DC who was important is gone,
Yeah.
except for like Jim Lee.
yeah,
Um, and even that's not necessarily completely safe because again, these layoffs aren't over yet.
Hmm.
Now, we saw what happened with DC a few weeks back, month or so back, when they completely cut ties with Diamond.
Hmm.
yeah,
That was an issue for people. We've had discussions before about the possibility of them moving into full digital distribution. As a matter of fact, Jerry Gaylord was on that show with us when we had that discussion. Um, hey, Joe, did you bring enough gum for the rest of the team?
Oh no, I shook my head. It's not even. It's not even gum. It's gummy worms. But nah.
Oh, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
so you just smacking and hanging.
You
All right.
I
know
need to
it.
make sure you're not chewing your tongue because if you sneeze again while you're chewing your tongue, you're gonna bite that thing off, and then
That's
Hey,
a
look,
problem.
I love you, bro, but I
Hey.
laugh my ass off.
Go for it. I'll
Yeah,
just
it's true.
I'll just cut my I'll just give you a thumbs up, cut my camera off, and you guys can continue rolling until I go get that patched up.
Yeah, you know how it is, man. The show must go on. Listen, so DC Direct was affected by the layoffs. Um, that's even in and of itself. You would think like, well, I mean, I guess it probably cost them a lot of money to do that, but they got to make decent money there, man. Those
Mhm.
things ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
that stuff ain't cheap. But we're talking like 1/3 of DC's editorial staff
mm,
just laid off, right? And discussions about, I saw Jay Roberts say something about Disney buying Warner Brothers properties. I mean, it could. Hey, listen, man, your replacements are
Hey,
in
hey,
the comments. I
Robert.
just want you to know.
Yeah.
I just want you to know your replacements are in the comments. Um, I think I think right now DC Comics is in way worse shape than we probably initially thought,
I agree.
and
I agree with that.
I think that there will probably be some very strong moves made to get the characters that Warner owns under that DC banner into other hands.
Hmm.
Somebody else is going to get control over making those movies and so forth. I'm pretty sure that that happens. Now, whether it ends up being Amazon because they want to do shows for Amazon Prime, which
Hmm.
could be a thing, right? Um,
I got faith in them.
I, I mean, after doing The Boys,
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking the boys. There's other stuff they have on there that I've heard great things about. Like, okay,
sure,
yeah, I'm good with
sure.
them.
Um, I, I, I'm imagining that we're going to see major push to digital distribution.
Hmm.
Oh, now I'm just sitting in a different spot. That's not new at all. That's not new at all. um, yeah, I'm thinking we're probably going to see a much wider move to digital distribution for DC. And right now, it looks like the big books, your Batmans, your Justice Leagues,
Mhm.
will probably stay in rotation. But what happens to the Black Label, which probably would have some really good stuff that could go to a Hulu or an
Right.
Amazon for them to make content? Um, I'm not totally sure what the issue is with DC's properties when it comes to like creating new content for their streaming service and like why that didn't really
Pan out the
hold.
way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but I would say that it probably more than anything else has to do with the fact that there's not enough content
That, that's
to
that.
Yeah.
justify paying for
That's what it is. Because their
the
content
monthly
was
fee.
solid. Their content, the shows that were on there, it wasn't many at all, but they were good shows. But it was like five total.
I mean, but here's the thing. Unlike a Disney Plus,
Hmm.
right,
Hmm.
which has content that speaks to multiple generations of people, DC doesn't have that.
Nah.
Yeah, DC's
You-
just DC. Marvel.
but it's not just that they're DC. It's that they are dark DC. That they are consistently going after being very dark, very quote unquote grown, grimy. You know what I mean? Like everything's got that very dark, very green matrix filter on it. It doesn't. There's not content that speaks to a younger audience that you can grab. And even if you're a parent who doesn't care about it, you need to have it because your kids want to see it and then they'll grow up with it
Hmm.
and want to continue to have it. Like that's one of the things that Disney has that they're not making good use of it. Could they maybe have done a good job if it was a Warner streaming service as opposed to a DC streaming service? Maybe.
Maybe.
Um, yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. They made it available to other services too soon, but I think that when you're not
Which we just talked about.
seeing a lift,
Where you needed it,
um,
you got to get it in other places to try to get it out there for people to see, and then somehow try to draw it back into home place. I mean, that's the only thing you can try to do.
I mean, look, but here's the problem: if you wait too long to make your content available to other services, that's a strategy that works if you're making money in the service you have.
You know, we'll probably hurt them too. No big names to bring, no big heroes that people know already to bring them to the DC universe. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like people out of us don't know Titans. You know what I mean? Know that's Robin getting his team, yada yada. Like they don't know like Swamp Thing and Doom Patrol. You know what I mean? They don't
right.
know that
Like
stuff.
even if you know Robin, you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
care.
yeah. Because you
Hmm.
always thinking of like we know Robin in a different light than the public knows him. They just know
Right.
him as Batman sidekick.
Boy Wonder.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. Boy Wonder.
Right.
That's
Boy
all
Wonder,
they know.
that's
They don't
it.
know.
Right. They don't know Damien.
Nah,
They don't know.
knew
You know what I mean? Like they don't. You know what I mean? Like they don't. And so it is. It is. I mean, look. What I'll say is that the streaming services that are seeing the most success are seeing that success, in my opinion, because the content that they have covers a wide breadth of genres, of age groups. It does. Like
Something for
for
everyone.
all of the garbage that's on Netflix, and there's a lot of garbage on Netflix, and there always has been a lot of garbage on Netflix. There's a lot of great stuff, and there's something for everyone. There's a lot of stuff that you just watch because you have the service because it's there.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Amazon Prime is pulling a lot of eyes in because they are doing things that are getting very critically acclaimed. You know what I mean? And a lot of that stuff is more adult stuff, but there's a lot of stuff there for kids. I think that if they are careful about how they push HBO Max. I'm going to say the other issue with HBO Max is that there are not enough people who could tell you what HBO Max actually is.
Mm-hmm.
How it compares to HBO Now.
That's what I was gonna say next. Yeah.
How it compares to HBO Go.
Why do you
There's
have
too much
5
confusion.
different-
They need to get scrap 2 of them. Just keep Max, and you pay at different tiers, and that's
Right.
that's just
and do it that way.
yeah.
There's too much confusion, and there are too many people who are already subscribers through their cable network who don't get access to it. Some people get it for free. It's just there's way too much. Look, I do this every day,
Oh, Jerry said they got
and
rid
it's
of
confusing
HBO
to
Go.
me.
Jerry said they got rid of HBO Go.
Here's the question. Listen, maybe, who knows? That's the problem.
True.
That's part of the
I'm
problem.
actually googling right now as we speak.
Yeah, because none of us knew about it if that's the case.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't have HBO Max or HBO Go. I have HBO. But I have HBO through my cable satellite provider,
Right.
which gives me access to use to see HBO stuff online
App not
by
available
signing
in your region.
into the account. So again, there's too much, and that's a problem for them. So as you streamline and lay off all these people and pull stuff out, you also have to set levels of clarity about what exactly it is you're getting, because you're also in a landscape where you are competing not just for people's dollars, but you are competing for their time.
Yes.
And you would think in a time like this, people have more time because so many people are or were stuck at home or whatever. What I find is that people are being more picky about their time and how they spend it consuming other stuff,
Right.
and where those dollars go and what they get for how much they pay, right? So if you already have Disney Plus and you already have Netflix, and even if you don't want Amazon Prime, you have it because you want the shipping.
Yep.
So you have Prime. You know what I mean?
Probably got Hulu.
Yeah, I mean, even Twitch just decided to go away from Twitch Prime and went to Prime Gaming. It's a whole thing, right? The amount of content there is strewn across all these places, and who has what, and what you have to watch this show versus what you have to watch this show, is beginning to be very overwhelming in a very already overwhelming world / society currently, right? And the last thing you want is confusion or to feel overwhelmed when you're trying to sit down just to unwind, to let loose, to, you know what I mean? It's like, where do I have to go to watch so-and-so again? How come I can't get it on this? Why is it? We had this discussion the other day when I talked to you guys about the fact that I have been rewatching Justice League, the show. So the good one, not the movie. Show. Animated show. You know, the good one.
Right.
Okay, the one that's good.
All right, we
Okay.
get it. We get
So I
it.
We got it.
just got to clarify.
We got it.
You drove the point home.
Yeah. And so I was on Amazon Prime looking at something else,
Mm-hmm.
had the thought and was like, you know what? Let me see if Justice League is available for Prime. Let me see if I have to pay for it or not. So I look, it's there, but I got to buy it. You know what? Instead of buying it here, let me see if it's available on Xbox because I buy a lot of my other stuff there. Then it'll
Mm-hmm.
be within that
Right.
ecosystem. So let me just go check there. So I went there, still had to buy it. Price was almost the same, but there was like a $4 difference. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't understand. Why is it cheaper here than it is here? Did I miss something? So I go back to Amazon Prime. When I get to Amazon, Amazon has the option to buy it in HD or in standard def.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find it anywhere else in anything other than standard def. So I had to buy it on Amazon
Yep.
because I will not watch it in standard def.
No.
No,
Time,
we way
Not
past that.
happening.
We're way past that.
Don't have to worry about
Not,
that no more.
not happening. Right? So yeah, I really need to clarify that. So no, he's not a real. Don't do this, Jay. Don't do this, Jay. Roberts. Don't do that.
Between Deans and Ellis and Anthony.
All the time.
What else gonna bring it up?
All the time.
Ellis will randomly show up in the next like 20 minutes or so and just drop in.
It's so confusing, right? And at one point, I did actually stop for a moment to go back to Netflix and go, well, it used to be on Netflix. Let me just go and see if it's on Netflix. Because if it's on Netflix and I don't have to buy it, I'll watch it in standard def. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Right? But it's not there. That doesn't mean it's not going to turn around and end up being there again, right? As that contract comes back around. Or look, with something like this happening, maybe they just go, hey, Netflix, you can have it.
You can have it.
Please,
just show
let's
it.
put it on. You know what I mean? Like, where is all that stuff going? I mean, look, Hanna-Barbera stuff. I see you, Alfonso.
And this
You're
can
right.
be confusing too, like for the fans of DC who are looking for all these shows, depending on what happens. Like if it, all right, we're gonna send this stuff to Amazon and we'll send this stuff to Netflix. That can get very confusing with what we're talking
Whoever
about.
the highest bidder is, right?
Yeah, where do I go to watch my stuff? Well, you gotta have this service and you gotta have that service if you want to watch all the DC stuff.
Yeah, combine it, bring it all in under one hood, and make it easy to access.
Under one banner.
Do they get rid of the CW?
Ooh.
See, and it's hard to say because CW is very
CW just
strong.
get cut? Is that a?
I don't think CW should get because they got too many.
It's strong with them.
They're strong with the content. Not just DC in general. Just in general, their show lineup is strong. And CW that has been for a while, so I don't think they need to do too much to CW.
Or if you're gonna do it, just give it to CW. Like I know you want to try to go. DC wants to go dark with a lot of stuff, but maybe you need to change that tone and just let CW be the catalyst. Because let's be real. Like we love Arrow, saying we love Arrow, but before it was on the CW, I don't know how much we really truly cared about Arrow until it was on the CW.
I cared about the Bow and Arrow. I did not care about Green Arrow. I hated his look. I hated his look in the comics.
You hate the whole goatee.
I hate it with passion. I'm so glad that they give it to me.
I mean, listen, that joint would have been fire, bro.
No, he technically had it for a small bit when he was on Lee and You.
Yeah, but it didn't look.
They should have just done like a quick little, like a fake me out. Like he could have got knocked out real quick and just felt like he was back in the Errol Flynn days. And they could have just hooked him up with the, you know what I mean, with the beard and the goatee.
Stephen Amell was like, "No, I'm not doing that.
Not having it, huh?
Not having that. That's the most I was getting with that beard in the beginning. Like,
I did it with the flashback. I'm done.
Yeah,
it would have been dope. You're killing me.
Great.
Hey, look, in terms of what's going to happen with comic books, I mean, I think it goes all digital. I don't think you can get away with it. I just don't. I don't see that happening, right? I mean, I think that somebody else, and I think there's a good chance it ends up being Disney, jumps in and takes it in some manner.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else, the right movie house, a Universal or somebody else, jumps in to try to get a lot of the Warner Brothers properties, period.
Mm-hmm.
Which might mean you get Batman. You know, I don't know what this means for what happens with the Snyder Cut, but the Snyder Cut was always coming to HBO Max.
Yeah.
It was
They
never
had that.
coming to the DC streaming
Right.
service, which is
Hmm. That's
ludicrous.
crazy. Why would you send it to the complete opposite of where,
I was
like,
saying, like we said,
the sense?
we don't know how bad this actually is behind the scenes, and that shows it right there. A big thing like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
bruh, they're literally calling it the DC bloodbath. Like
Oh,
they're literally calling it the DC bloodbath.
oof,
That's
that's
I
bad.
don't know if there's a whole lot. Yo, first of all, we're not talking about Jim Shooter at all. My man's out. I can't even. You know, it's possible though. Um, look, I will say that I am heavily concerned about what happens on the comic book side of things
Mm.
more than I am what happens on the television movie side of things as far as Warner Brothers is concerned, as far as what those properties are and where they end up and what happens with them. Um, right now, it feels like AT&T feels like they made a bad purchase and they got to purge.
They trying to hurry. It's
Okay,
like abandon
Yeah.
ship. Come on.
and there absolutely will be a focus that's going to be on HBO Max. Now, whether that means they attempt to retain the properties they have and make sure that those properties are a reason for you to
Go get it.
purchase a
Yeah,
subscription to HBO Max
yeah.
remains to be seen.
Mhm.
That's one
Um,
idea.
because it wouldn't make sense for them to license those properties out only to try to have to license them back
Yeah.
to put on their own. But there is the possibility that they license, let's say, the movie rights to certain characters, right? To get that money, to bring money in. But then also within that, negotiate a deal that says when the movie comes out, once it comes available for home streaming, it has to
Yeah, it's
come to
coming out.
HBO Max
Hmm.
first, which HBO is already very good at because they've been doing that for the
Yeah.
entire existence of HBO. Is hey, when this movie comes home or when it's done in the theater or whatever its run is over,
You bring it here
HBO is
first.
going to be the place you got to do that before it goes to Showtime, before it goes to anywhere else, whatever. Um, that is probably what I would expect to see happen is that they will license off the rights. It could be that the Batman TV show rights or TV rights go to one company and Batman movie rights go to somebody else and Batman video game rights go to somebody else. Like there are so many ways the pie could be divided, and
Hmm.
that might be part of why what they did have on the table for the video games portions of WB may have been rescinded. Maybe we need to relook at this and
Mhm.
start looking at these properties as a whole, but then saying, all
Yeah.
right, here's what we're going to do. We'll license. Look what, Lucas and Disney did with Star Wars. They gave EA the license for 10 years, right? And
Mhm.
so only EA had the rights to make a Star Wars game for however long, you know what I mean? And it worked for them because they were willing to pay so much money to have it for that period of time. Um, that could be the kind of thing they're looking at, right? They're bringing somebody in who's going to go, all right, look, we need to break this up a different way. Um, you are very correct. That's exactly what happened to Marvel. They just sent, which is why Disney is in the position that it is now with Spider-Man at Sony and movie
Mhm.
rights for the Hulk.
The
Again,
Hulk is the creating the biggest issue.
the movie
Jeez.
rights for the Hulk being at Universal, which I mean, I guess you could make Hulk one of the Universal monsters. You could put him in there with
No,
Frankenstein and
no.
the Mummy and
So
Dracula.
don't.
If you really wanted to, I suppose he could be one of the Universal monsters. Them having the rights to make the movies, but Marvel still having the rights to use him as an Avenger.
Hmm.
All that
Yeah.
kind of weird, crazy
It's
wording,
crazy to get
contractual
it to
stuff.
work like it does.
That's what's scary about all this, that it can get so convoluted and so confusing. Then you got
Correct.
you got a Batman movie being made with some crazy things going on. Then the TV show is completely left field from that. Then again, it'll confuse consumers. Like, okay,
Right.
What's
why?
going on?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It
Why
like
is Batman in this one? Why
right.
is the actual Batman?
I
You know
Right.
get
what I
it.
mean? Like, yeah,
Like
stuff
Well, I
like
mean,
that.
it it stands to reason, right? That if somebody gets the rights to Superman and somebody gets the rights to Batman, can somebody else get the rights to Justice League? Do they have the right to use
To do.
those same characters if they decide to do a Justice League show? If they, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
think it should be possible because I wouldn't be too upset. Like, say if it got split those many different ways. I mean, yes, I understand for the average viewer, it probably would confuse them. But like for us knowing about like universes and how things could eventually tie together, I do like it in that aspect of how they can do it. But it just depends on with the people behind said shows or said movies or said whatever how if they're going to agree to come about it because like I use for a good example I've been watching Chicago PD and they've had
yes,
these
I
cross.
know.
I know, and they've been having like they have like all these crossovers, not just with their own shows, but like say for instance, Law and Order that's on a whole different network. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, what if we did have like say Batman on now? Granted, they would already be combined necessarily by the universe itself, but we know they exist in the same universe or whatnot ever. But I feel like that could be kind of interesting to do. I mean, actually, you know what? DC did do that with Flash
Right,
and
with
Supergirl.
CBS. Right,
Yeah, and they
right.
did it. It worked. Granted, they were only on each other's shows for all of a split second before Supergirl just ended up getting shifted over to CW. They clearly did it, and they made it work.
Yeah, you're right. Jay Roberts, you're right too. But that JLA pilot was garbage. And it was probably garbage because it didn't have those mainstays. I mean, look,
Same reason why we never got that Wonder Woman TV
let's
show.
let's 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 yeah. I mean, let's keep it a buck. If you try to do a Justice League anything now and you don't have the main three,
You
you might
can't
as
do
well
it.
forget it.
Yeah, yeah.
You might as well forget it. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. The only reason why Arrow works is because nobody knew it was a comic book. Like the
Mm-hmm.
people who were really watching it, like the people that were watching enough of it for it to actually blow up the way that it did, were people who had no idea. There's a reason why they didn't call it Green Arrow. They called it just Arrow. It is because they were trying to attract an audience that had nothing to do with comic books
Mm-hmm.
at all. And that's the only reason why that show stayed and was successful. You can't really do that with The Flash, but it is also why The Flash was not the first show out the gate. It was the strength of the Arrowverse already existing that allowed them to be able to do Flash again in this era.
Okay.
If you decided you wanted to do a Martian Manhunter show, you could probably pull it off because most people would probably have no idea,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you did it and you did it right. But I'm not positive that Martian Manhunter could hold a showdown if you don't start to introduce other
Other
people and
characters
allow
into it.
that world to be a part. You know what I mean? Like
Why isn't
I don't
Supergirl?
know that really works. I mean, Supergirl introduced Martian Manhunter, but you know who Supergirl is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you can't get away from it. So that show also probably doesn't get greenlit if Arrow's not already successful based on the strength of people who are not comic book people.
True.
That's just, you know what I mean? On that note, Arrow probably doesn't get greenlit and happen if the MCU isn't already successful. Truthfully. Because you had a lot of people who were not comic book people who all of a sudden were like, you know what I want? I want a Captain America shirt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The sales and the push and all of the extra merchandise and all that kind of stuff that plays such a pivotal role in what these are. Like no movie like that is ever just the movie. It is always the movie and the merchandise and what you can do with it beyond the screen. So look, the comic book portion of it again is the thing I'm the most concerned about.
Agreed.
I feel like the rest of the most of it will find a way to continue to permeate and to exist. It's really the comic books that are most likely to suffer. And it wouldn't surprise me to see some of those properties go to houses like Image.
Boom.
You know, yeah. Depending, you know what I mean, on what it is. Certainly some of the lesser known, like I could see like a Constantine making its way back into a more, you know what I mean, independent,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because Constantine was really starting to be a thing for them, at least in the animated universe,
And she's in the CW shows now, so
right?
yeah, people know who he
Right.
is.
They do. I just don't know how
I
much
mean,
longer Legends is going to last. Honestly, I really feel like Constantine could have his own show back to himself again, and it'd be straight fire. But I feel like Legends is kind of on borrowed time right now.
sure. I mean, look at Lucifer though. Same kind of thing. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
breathe life into a show like that if you move it to a streaming service that will put the time, money, and effort into it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it can be done now in ways that were not possible. You know what I mean? Before. Um, you know what? I had enough of that.
uh-oh.
I do want to talk a little bit about this whole. It's not a curveball yet. Not yet. I saw your face.
Uh-oh.
I want to talk a little bit about this whole uh this anime log channel.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I, we've had multiple discussions about anime over the last couple of weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of its growth and what's happened with it. The 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 fact that it has taken this long for the the production houses that put together these anime, these studios to come together and say, you know what, we're losing a lot of money because people are pirating our stuff, right? The idea that it took you that long to realize that people outside of Japan actually want this content
Yep.
that bad, and that they're willing to jump through the most hoops to get it,
Some of
right?
the most of the anime, all of them that I see is people constantly begging, "Where can I go watch such and such online? Where can I
Just
go
That,
watch this
just making it
online?"
easy to
Hey,
that
access and get
just
to it.
putting all the websites I know. Go to such and such.com. Go to such and such dot whatever. Like go here, you can watch yada yada all that kind of stuff there. Yeah, it's a big thing outside of
And
Japan
it
now.
had to be fan subs back in the day. Like at certain points,
oh
they
yeah,
did not sub a lot of anime, and it was like you had to hope that whoever you were getting this trusted fan sub on there was doing a pretty good job. I give them props, they did.
facts.
But it was like that was the only way to consume it unless you wanted to just straight watch it without having subtitles, and you just had to kind of figure out,
Or wait, keep your fingers crossed that whatever production house it came out of
would
would
end up dubbing.
decide if it's big enough, worth it enough for them to do it sub for you.
Yep. I
Yeah.
mean, again, right now it's only in Japan, but they are planning subs for China and for the U.S. Well, I guess I should say English, and Chinese, not necessarily just the U.S. Um, Alfonso said anime too high in the stores. You right?
That's one fact, man. I will tell you,
Yes.
buying anime, oh my god, is a punch in the wallet. Like just as an example, I love Sword Art Online. I will not buy the the seasons of it because like half a season is like $70. Not a whole
Yeah.
season, like half a season is like $70. And on top of
Yep.
it, they only sell them in like collector's editions. They don't
Right.
sell like just a regular. Oh, here's a regular Blu-ray copy that has 13 episodes on it for $30. No, if you want it, you paying collector edition prices to get it.
Yeah, that's that,
I,
coming overseas tax.
I
Mm-hmm.
Check.
mean,
But
look, the success of like Crunchyroll here has to speak to that, right? Of course,
oh
they just
yes.
laid off a bunch of people at Crunchyroll.
Yep.
Um, like I don't, I don't. You're right. Anime fans have been getting hoes for decades. Um, See, why not just Fire Stick it? Well, that's the point. The reason why they're making this free
It's
YouTube
because
channel is
people are
because
using
that's what people are doing.
it. Mm-hmm.
Is to try to offset the amount of money that they seem to now know they're losing.
You're right. It's terrible. They should do this to combat piracy.
Listen, listen for a second. It makes me wonder, for real, whether or not it is the the slowdown in production. It
Mhm.
is an uptick in piracy because so many people are home because of COVID. Like if COVID
Mm-hmm.
is actually a lot of the force behind them finally coming together and being like, you know what we need to do? Let's take all these studios, let's come
Let's
together
combine our
and let's
forces.
make one channel. Because technically, any of those animation studios could make their own YouTube channel and decide to put their stuff there for people to view, right? For all of these studios to come together into one in order to have a free YouTube channel says their pockets are hurting in
Mm-hmm.
something other than the way that piracy was affecting them. To be honest, piracy was probably in a lot of ways currently being offset by the cost of anime if you're buying it legitimately,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, that's
That and
probably
probably
a lot of what the problem is.
Crunchyroll over the years, building up steam and getting popular, getting revenue that way too could have helped.
I mean, again, just laid off a bunch of people in
Yeah.
Crunchyroll. You know what I mean?
Netflix,
And like, apparently, it's not enough numbers
AT&T.
for AT&T,
Whew.
right? But again, it's definitely seeing a lot of success on Netflix, and Amazon Prime has some solid anime. Period, like across the board. So you can go to places legitimately,
Of course.
right, and watch a lot of anime. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people are being introduced to it for the first time. And for the majority of people who are being introduced to it for the first time, what it takes to be a pirate, too many hoops.
Mm-hmm.
Way too many hoops. It's too much work. It's way too much work. For you, anime is getting to a place now where it is not the kind of thing that is strictly for the folks who are diehard. If you're diehard, you go through the necessary hoops to get the content that you want, have always wanted, the stuff you've been looking at, so you can be in the know, so you can be ahead of the curve, on the curb, whatever it is. Now it is beginning to truly eke its way so deep into the mainstream that there are people who are just like, nah, I just want to be able to watch it where I want to watch it, and I'm not going through all of that to do it, right?
Yep.
For real, for a lot of people, even if you are into it, you're not necessarily jumping through hoops. You got a guy that jumps through hoops that gets you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I know somebody, and I'm looking for, hey, can you get that? Yes, I got you. You know what I'm saying?
I
I've
got
been had that. You late. You know what I'm saying? Like, that right. That
Give it to
is, for a lot of people, the most hoop they're willing to go through is
got
my
the guy.
hookup. You know what I'm saying? I got a guy. Um, yeah. I mean, look, and Jay Roberts, he's seen a lot on Voodoo, and
They know who owns in the
Oh, this is
studios
so
and
us.
stuff like that.
I haven't looked into Voodoo in so long.
I forgot it
I mean,
existed.
I,
Not a
once
shot to them or
once
anything.
Walmart bought it,
Oh yeah, that's right. They did.
I was like, I'm out. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Look, I think it's interesting. I'm very interested. I'm gonna be following this because I definitely want to see what
Agreed.
happens with it. I mean, look, Rooster Teeth, they got chopped too. There's layoffs at Rooster Teeth as well. You know, that's Video Game Central,
Yeah.
Red vs. Blue. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Uh,
RBYW,
Ruby.
whatever.
Yeah, like that's not. It's there's a
It's a
lot
thing.
being
It's a thing.
affected.
Mm-hmm.
No, definitely
Hey,
gotta
look,
keep an eye on it. We need to know where all the pop culture stuff we love over there is gonna go. Where it's
that's
gonna end
exactly
up at,
right.
so I know where to go to watch it at.
Boom.
Or consume it in general.
There's a lot to be said there. On that note, y'all remember that y'all remember that short like trailer for the Fresh Prince that was like a
Yes.
realistic, like a
Yeah.
drama. You
Mm-hmm.
see that joint's getting a show?
Show now.
I heard that it's like a bidding between like Showtime
Well,
and
they're
HBO.
shopping it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Netflix is showing interest. Peacock has shown interest. I would imagine that Peacock's probably got a
Either
pretty
play. Yeah.
good opportunity at it because the original show is
Yeah.
NBC. That's
Mm-hmm.
Peacock. But the fact that Morgan Campbell, who did the piece, would be co-executive producing
An
along with
amazing
That's
Will
piece.
pretty
Smith.
dope. That's
Yeah,
pretty
an
dope.
Oh
amazing
yeah, it was
piece.
dope. If you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
Definitely look it up. Um, and that Quincy Jones will be back to
Ooh.
work
Oh,
on it.
okay.
Yeah, y'all know I'm a Quincy fan. That's my guy right there.
You know, that'd be
Um,
dope. A fresh Bel Air joint for a new audience, new people. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I'll be honest. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I would,
Right.
I would,
I'm
I
willing
would
to
give it a
take a
whirl.
yeah and see how it goes.
yeah.
I would take a
Flip
look at it.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a solid 10 to 13 episodes, and if the first three hook me, I'll go through nine. You know what I'm saying? At least, you know what
You
I
might as well
mean, to
finish.
see what happens.
Mhm.
I mean, I certainly think it could be. Um, I certainly think it could be solid. What do you? Why are you? What are you smirking at?
I'll tell you off. I'll tell you off camera.
Why?
It's
Okay.
something that was said earlier that's just keeping me
Still
chuckling
in
right
your
now.
head?
Yeah.
All right, my
Yes.
He
guy.
keeps saying it to himself,
Um,
making himself laugh.
right.
No,
Stop repeating it to
I keep
yourself.
seeing it right now, and that's what's making me laugh. I keep like
Oh, okay,
seeing.
okay, okay, okay. I got you. I got you. Just keep looking at it. You know
I
what I'm saying? That
can't help
makes it
it.
easy.
But go ahead.
I mean, nah, I'm with you. Hey, so look, remember last week? Not last week. A couple weeks ago, we had a discussion about whether or not what it is about Superman and his powers and the evolution of his powers and them changing consistently, like
Oh,
all the time,
right and trash. Right.
and like you know what I mean. Are there other characters that you feel like have that same kind of an issue?
Nobody
I
that
don't.
comes to the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think we've seen anyone like. I know we did the comparison where people always put him and Goku kind of in the same thing, but it's like Goku always just he had to still train or do whatnot ever to get
Yeah,
set
Goku
abilities.
earns his powers.
Yeah, versus Superman just hey, it's at this time, let's just give him this ability. But I really can't think of anyone else that has that issue. I mean, I know you said Batman, his utility belt just works for whatever he needs at the time. So,
I mean, Batman definitely gets given new skill sets consistently so that he can survive.
so
Wonder Woman started flying out of nowhere.
oh
Hey,
no,
listen.
look, hey, I'm not mad at the flying part.
Glad you said
I'm
that.
mad at her
You know
super
what? Hold
speed
on.
from the
Is that a
movie.
DC thing? Then I think about it, we just named three big hitters in a row. Like, is that just a DC thing? When people get powers out of nowhere, abilities?
Maybe that they just give them to him.
Yeah, that's what I
You know
mean.
what I'm
Like they
saying,
just
or something like that. Let me. You know what? I'm gonna try to calm down before I get into this. Hold on a second. Damn,
so bro.
I told y'all I've been watching this Justice League, right?
Yep.
And last night I was watching. There's an episode of Justice League. It's a two-parter. A lot of the episodes are two-parters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, this dude Vandal Savage, right,
Ooh.
marries this young princess from some made-up country. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, right?
When was an episode?
Huh?
One was an episode, right?
Was
Wonder
it what
Woman.
episode? It's
Was it?
well,
I
it's
mean, she's
yes,
like in
yes,
every episode.
because Wonder Woman
It was
goes like clubbing with her or whatever, and becomes
yeah,
like,
okay, yeah. What you talking about? I know the one you're talking about.
listen to me, bruh. The number of times that Wonder Woman and Batman were the only two Justice League members who were there and were technically like involved in what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
The number of times that Wonder Woman leaps in front of Batman or in front of the Princess Girl and blocks infinite bullets, bruh, was pissing me off, bruh. Like I was getting heated. Like I was watching the joint and I'm chilling and I was just like, I saw that. Like, listen,
Were they, was it
listen,
multiple? Was it multiple assault? Shooting at her with a machine gun? Multiple
bro,
dudes?
listen. There's a sequence, right? Where so Vandal Savage poisons the princess's father
Mm-hmm.
so that she ends up pushing up their wedding. Wonder Woman has Wonder Woman gets knocked out, right? Batman has to get her. Come on, bruh. But but anyway, so he tells her like, "Hey, she done pushed up the timeline. They getting married right now." She like, "Nah, not on my watch." Flies in and he's like, "Hey, you know if you go and you interrupt this wedding, it's across international borders. It's gonna be a problem. It's whatever." She's like, "I don't care." Takes off. She looks at him like, "You coming?" He just smiles like, "Man, damn, I'm coming. I'm all in." Which I really like that though. You know what I'm saying? Listen, hey, listen. This is not about Eisenberg and her wonderful acting abilities. This is about the incredible animations. So as they fly in, right, the entire army of this country begins to attack the two of them. Wonder Woman is flying in. They bring in jets. They firing missiles at her. Listen, the first missile that gets fired at her, listen, Slim, she swoops out of the way, takes her lasso off, grabs that joint with the lasso, spins the joint around, fires it back at back at the plane. All right, listen, I'm gonna let that go. That's cool. That's
Okay.
cool. Whatever. I'm gonna let it go. Batman shows up in the Batwing, like, "Oh, we doing some dog fighting? F-16s? I'm out here. I'm for this. This is what I came for." You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Wonder Woman gets grounded. Listen, they firing at this joint with tanks. It's men everywhere with machine guns just firing. Hey, listen, Wonder Woman picks up this giant tree out of the ground, roots and all, bruh. She's using it to block. There's so many people shooting at her. She's using the tree to like block the gunfire. Then she takes the tree. Listen to me. Listen to me. Hercules style. The entire tree and swings it at the whole line of army dudes, right? To knock all of them out of the way. This is the number of people firing at her, and I want you to understand that it's that many people firing at her. She is jumping in front of dudes. Bing, 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 bing. Doing this. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. We can't do this. Okay?
Leave this one.
None of them was smart enough. I'd have shot her in the ankle and call it a day.
You can't shoot her in the ankle, bruh, because her bracers go anywhere. They're not even attached to her body. Bro, listen to me. I was thinking to myself, all right, look. I know that there has to be a certain amount of suspension of disbelief. First of all, I'm watching a cartoon. Second of all, it's superheroes with superpowers. I get that. It's cool.
But it's still some things that you're still like, huh?
But you don't even have to write them into that situation to begin with. So once you do, scrutiny is allowed. And so right now, scrutinizing, bro.
Again, with J. Robert.
When I was doing Anime Vote, I was watching Crime Freeman. This one scene made me so mad in the same vein. One dude came in with a machine gun. He is trying to shoot Freeman. 12 dudes jump in front of him. This dude never takes his finger off the trigger.
Oh, I'm sure.
And all 12 of them come in front of him and get shot up by everything. Like, dude, how many bullets is in this clip that you have not taken off the trigger yet? Like, come on now.
Hey, listen. There's a scene, young. This is another one of those things where it's like they just be letting Batman do whatever. So again, mind you, multiple times she jumps in front of Batman to block bullets, right, coming at him. They break into the control room, right? She come in, bust the whole door down. She just slugging dudes. Bing! Bing! Slugging dudes. And I'm like, yeah, crush him, Wonder Woman. Batman's no-powered ass comes in the room. Listen, hands down, tucked behind his cape, running forward like it's Naruto, bro.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Dipping and diving. They just shooting. Listen, it's just a trail of bullets hitting the floor. And I'm like, hey, Slim, if you was going to aim at the floor, why didn't you do that when you was shooting at Wonder Woman? She's blocking everything. I can't with this joint right now. Listen,
Oh, man.
I was having moments. You know what I'm saying? I hear you. Listen, Cap blocking everything with his shield, which only covers the top 1/3 of his body, always been an issue for me too. Somebody shoot this dude feet. Like, it's the kind of thing that's like, because I got a lot of love for Flash, but that dude gets tripped a lot for somebody who's so fast. I be trying to figure out, like, how do you even see this dude? How can you trip this guy? Like,
Oh man.
for all intents and purposes, that dude's rogues gallery should have no chance. Captain Cold should have no chance. But that dude will fire a block of ice at the ground. The Flash will slip.
Oh man. No, I will not forget when what was that? Teen Titans versus Justice League, and Soup tripped him up and then just like stepped on his leg and just broke that.
Bro, listen, put him all the way down.
Oh,
I don't.
man.
It just. Dude, everybody that got you to watch Naruto, listen. My oldest right now is like, I don't know,
Yeah.
like
Weeks ago. Oh
5
man.
seasons in.
Besides the fillers, enjoy that ride.
Oh, you gonna enjoy that.
Yo,
Skip every last filler up.
she just walked in the room and was like, I hate Sakura. And I was like, all right.
Oh, you already.
Every,
Oh,
I
right.
swear, like the only person that doesn't like. I don't understand the hate.
Dog.
She was steaming, yeah.
Sin. When
was
she was
steaming.
when she was grabbed by her hair.
Yeah, and I've seen the meme.
She could have stabbed dude in the leg,
I see the meme.
the lower extremities, or whatever. No, she cuts her hair. She cuts her hair.
Yes, back then, yes, she had a long way to go, but I still like her.
But she ended up.
I don't know what happened to my video feed, but it is just like time to shut it down.
What is it, Gage?
yes.
I don't know. Like you start spitting facts, and then somewhere in Internetville, someone doesn't like you.
Oh, he's back.
It's a fact. Listen, in the episode, again, I've been watching a lot of Justice. First of all, let me just say, that's a great show, man. I love that show. They got me. I'm getting ready to buy Justice League Unlimited again because I already own them all.
I do too.
They better get me. Listen, when they're fighting Amazo, and they telling Superman like, nah, dog, don't come, because if you come, we're not gonna be able to beat him. Once he copies your powers,
It's a wrap.
it's a wrap, right? And he's with Batman, and Batman's like, don't go, and he's like, but I got to, and he's like, but don't. You know what I'm saying? And Amazo is whooping everybody, right? Superman shows up, punishing Amazo, right? First thing he does is he covers his eyes. Oh, you kind of smart, like, right? Like, you can't copy me if I cover your eyes. Covered his eyes. He banging Amazo, right? Amazo hits him with a power punch, takes the block off, scans him. All of a sudden, he got all Superman's powers, right? And he's going to town, punishing everybody, right? Batman shows up.
That's right. Talk about it.
Opens the utility belt.
Kryptonite.
Says, you get all of our abilities, but you also get our weaknesses too, right? Hits him with that joint, right? Amazo hurt. He like, no, right? Flies away, right?
Oh, man.
Listen, Batman and says, do you always carry kryptonite? Man was like, you don't, Slim? What you mean? And just, it takes off, bro. Yeah, hey, listen. Hey, look. He yelled at Superman. He was like, get away. Superman backed off. Just pulled the thing out and walked up to Slim like, yeah, you want a treat? Amazo?
That's ready to put
Slim.
Superman down at any given time, any given day, whatever
Bro.
it may be.
I'm going to tell you what, man. That show is so good. There are seeds that they sow in, like, the first season of that show that don't technically pay out until, like, the
Unlimited.
last couple episodes of that show. That joint is incredible, bruh. Incredible, dog. That joint, yeah. That's a great show, man. You know what? I encourage everybody to just go on Amazon and go ahead and buy that if you don't have it, so you can get it in the HD, so you don't have to watch the SD, because that watching the SD is tough.
Ooh.
And I want to say,
I think I do got it.
I have renewed my love for the theme songs to both of those
I will
shows.
say the theme song's fire.
Hey, bro, but that Justice League Unlimited theme song, man, that thing. I get amped. I be ready to watch the show when it. Let me just run that back, watch the theme song again. That thing
You
is
will watch on
smart,
Netflix. Do you
bro.
want to skip the opening? Hell no, I ain't skipping this opening.
Nah, I don't want to skip the opening. I will say that that's one of the things I love about Amazon is that they give you the option to skip because they always do in the beginning of the show. They always do a recap of the last episode.
So yeah,
Mhm.
So they actually give you the option to skip the recap and then go to the intro and then skip the intro. I can skip the recap. I
ain't skipping
literally
that
just
intro.
watched that episode, but I need to watch this intro. We got to get hyped before we get started. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Yeah. Yeah, that joint, super fire. Highly recommended if you haven't. If you're
Oh,
gonna do it,
here we go at the end with the
Oh
shot.
man,
what's wrong? What's
Jay
wrong?
Roberts like the worst episode is leaps and bounds better than Apocalypse War.
Hey, listen, let
What?
me just give you 15 minutes to pour it on, Jay Roberts. Let me just, you know what? We could run for a little bit. Let's go ahead and put it on. I think Apocalypse War. It's not the best of the films.
But it's fire.
It's definitely a solid cap to that entire run. Definitely a solid cap. But by all means, because we did say we were going to give some time for this.
Oh yeah.
Let's get into it. I'm totally down because the only thing, man. All right, so listen. If you have not seen Apocalypse War, it's getting ready to be some spoilers.
Spoilers.
I'm just going to tell you that now. And starting now. Listen to me.
Says too much Harley for one.
Too much Harley?
Yeah.
Nah. I think
think
it's just
so.
enough Harley.
I don't think it was
Suicide Squad. I was cool with what we got with her.
I mean, the only thing I really didn't like was Cyborg not making it.
Dog, why out of everybody, my man? Oh no, I'm in the wall. I can't. I'm stuck.
Yeah, I have no
He
love.
really was in the wall though. He really was in the wall
My
though.
man was
Like,
in. I was like, damn, dude.
that's the kind of joint give me nightmares. Make me think about the Wiz when the graffiti banners came out of the wall.
Oh.
Woo, that joint gives me the.
Hey,
I don't like that at all,
I
bro.
guess Cyborg at least getting the last word in before the whole thing blew up.
Yeah. Hey, look. Here's okay. So
Jerry said,
I'm gonna-
I'll be back for the next episode.
yeah, my man said I hate Harley. You know what? Here's the thing. We've had multiple discussions about Harley, and I think one of the issues with Harley, I know that is one of Sin's favorite.
Yeah, DC.
One of the issues with Harley is their inability to decide what they're really going to do with her.
Mhm.
That's just kind of what it is. She's just kind of all over the place.
Did go hard.
Swamp Thing is my guy, bro.
Oh,
That's my guy, bro. Like they made Swamp Thing. Whew. I mean, plenty of movies where the person of color doesn't make it, but like,
Cyborg made it. He just was, built into a wall.
nah, he didn't make it though because when they left,
you couldn't take him. He was fused circuits and all to the whole.
he was the one who made the boom tube open so they could get out.
Yeah.
They left my man with Trigun and Darkseid battling. There's no surviving that.
That's how much I do not like Cyborg. Like, I forgot that he died. Like, okay, I just know he was stuck in the wall. Like, all right.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. For a long time, I also did not like Cyborg. For a very long time. I did not start to like Cyborg until Teen Titans.
I was gonna say.
My God.
Booyah!
I hate that. It's just too
But
black.
you know what? Here's one of the reasons why I don't like him. Because he has too many powers. The dude can do anything. Come on, bro. You make mother boxes and boom tubes and you can come on, man, get out of here, dog. You do too much. You know what I'm saying? Can't you just go sit in the corner and play music? That's what I want you to do. I want you to go play music. Like, stop.
Yeah, he's just gonna go over the corner and his arm's gonna turn into a boombox and he's just gonna start playing music.
Just be a walking Spotify. Just be a walking
anything, bro. Like, come on, man. Stop it. Let's see.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's something Cyborg I kind of do like from the little bit I've seen of Doom Patrol.
Oh, is on Doom Patrol?
Yeah, the little bit I've seen like half of the first season. Whatever, I gotta go back and finish it.
Okay.
But I like that version, like his attitude and everything. I kind of like him on that one.
I mean, here's the thing. He has a tendency to come off like a bit of a brat, crybaby. My daddy won't come see my games, and it's like I get it. You know what I mean? we also kind of have to watch that get rehashed over and over again. It's
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
it's been a bit much. Um, but I don't like that he has so many abilities. You know what I mean? He could just kind of do anything. That just any character that doesn't have enough like regular weaknesses. Just you know what I mean? Like not even necessarily a weakness, but it's like you have all the abilities. Like it's the same issue that Superman has. It's the same issue that Wonder Woman has. Like they make Wonder Woman as strong as they feel like they need her to be at the moment.
The fourth,
You know what I mean?
member we added that tier is another member of the Justice League.
I mean, all facts, like the Justice League as a whole is probably the most OP group of heroes on it. Like you're not gonna tell me Martian Manhunter is not OP.
All of them are.
What?
All of them are.
Like,
I mean,
how about take away Martian Manhunter's super strength? Like, why does he need that? He can phase through walls. He can read people's minds. He can make people do stuff. He can snap. Yeah, like
Probably just
he
got to
already
the point
can
it's like,
shape
man,
shift.
just throw it in. Just throw it in.
Like,
and,
hey,
and
he can fly. He can like. Why can he fly? What? Like, just take something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so his weakness is fire. What kind of RPG shit is that? Like, what? His weakness is fire, bruh. He's a Martian. Let's talk about this for a
Mars
second.
is hot.
Mars is close to the sun.
I said Mars is hot.
It's hot in Mars, bro. This regular weakness is fire. It's the dumbest. Like, yo, like, I can't. Like,
you should be vulnerable to the fire.
Doesn't show how long ago like these characters were made.
Someone probably didn't think about that. Yo,
I don't care, yo. I don't care how long ago they were made, yeah. Because real talk, like Wolverine is OP.
Oh yeah,
He's OP,
yes,
but he's like stoppable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
yes.
you can hurt him. You know what I'm saying? You know what I thought about today, young? Curveball.
Hey.
Listen. What if Scott Summers' Cyclops, as he got older, his eyesight started to go bad?
Man, gonna have to pick up
How
some new
does my
skills.
man get new glasses? What? First of all, he has to have the best aim on the entire planet. Yes?
Yes.
I mean, outside of Apocalypse, who shoots beams out of his eyes that go where they want and still hit their target. Whatever. Let's just, like, that's just dumb, but okay.
Okay.
What?
Before it goes away, before we're losing the scroll, Robert Dean said maybe to go back down further before we lose his comment because the comments was kind of moving. He said another issue he had was we saw nothing of the actual war. Most of the main battle between A and the JLA was off screen or brief flashbacks.
That's facts. I really wanted to see them get bodied. Like, just the few scenes that we saw of each one of them getting bodied. I mean,
Also, before we lose another one, voice casting was hit or miss. Ryan was solid in his own character, but O'Connell as Soups, no. I liked Omar as Batman, but very few other parts warranted the cast. And you could tell the celebrity was voicing the character. It felt too much a stunt. And
I mean,
another one. And then we wasted way too much time on recruiting and dallying around building the resistance.
I mean, I think that's what it was about, though. But I tell you what, when you name something Apocalypse War, you want to see the war.
I can agree.
I dig that.
yeah.
I dig that. I almost feel like that means you have to split it into two
Two
movies.
movies. I was gonna say the same thing. And then everyone probably would have thought they would have tried to
Infinity
copy.
War,
Yeah, Infinity War
right?
and Endgame. That would have been the complaint after at that point.
You basically have to do that because you can't. If you had spent the time actually showing the war itself and seeing them lose, and they probably thought about doing it, and then realized, oh yeah, Marvel just did this. We probably shouldn't do that. For real.
We can't do that.
Because y'all know as well as I do that I mean, Thanos and Darkseid are the same guy.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much.
it's like, you know, are the X-Men overpowered? I'm gonna get to that in a second. the the thing about Apocalypse War, I would agree with that in the way, like, if you say war, I want war. I feel like the fighting and stuff that happened at the end, the amount of loss that they suffered,
Mm-hmm.
whether you saw it or not, whether it was flashback or not, the amount of loss that they suffered going into during the actual parts that you did see, that last siege,
Mhm.
um, I think that kind of filled that void for me. I think if that hadn't been there, I would have liked it less. But I do feel like they did enough to make it feel like the stakes were actually high. And I want to say that I think what I liked about it at the end was that technically, even though they won, they didn't win because it
Nah.
was just too late. It was too late. Like, I guess you could rebuild if you really wanted to, but it didn't really work out for them. And
Mm-hmm.
so we need another reset. Let's use Flash for the one thing I guess he's really good for.
Mm-hmm.
Let's reset the timeline again.
Mess it
So we
up.
can start from scratch.
Mess up
Um,
something to fix it.
yeah, I mean, also, I also want to say that I do like the idea that Batman was holding back every time he fought Damien. Cause he beat the brakes off that little
No,
bastard, bro.
he told. I didn't hold it back. He beat
Yeah. Um, and some of that stuff was short lived. The Trigon Superman thing was short lived. I thought, you know, finding out kind of at the end that Apocalypse had taken control over like Wonder Woman and Mira and you know what I mean, all
Oh,
of them, and,
that
and
was
kind of
cool.
having that fight at the end was
Mhm.
pretty dope too. Um, yeah, I thought that was cool. Um, Raven felt a little whiny,
A little
a little
bit.
bit.
I can say a little bit on that. Yeah.
She felt a little whiny, but yeah, I didn't really like that either. But I guess they figured, you know what, this is the last one. Let's just do it.
I
You know
know.
what I mean?
Yeah,
You might as well.
give a
Um,
break and just reset.
Here's what I'd say as far as the X-Men and are the X-Men too powerful. I think that the X-Men power sets offset each other enough, and the teams rotate out often enough
Mm-hmm.
that they're never quite overpowered. I think that the villains that they face are villains that have powers akin to their own, and so no, they don't seem overpowered. Like the villains that the Justice League tends to deal with, like technically the Justice League is fighting like Amanda Waller. Like what? Like y'all are way OP for this. You know what I'm saying? And you still got a giant beam in the sky that you can use to shoot
Just
down on people.
blow up
Like
everything.
yeah, like you're like you're the biggest enemy to the Justice League is Lex Luthor. That dude is the
Yeah,
almost physical equivalent of Batman. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, clearly he can't outfight Batman. Clearly. But he could outsmart him.
Yeah, he
Maybe.
could.
You know what I'm saying? Um,
possibly.
so yeah. Outside of fighting somebody like Amazo, it's almost like the stakes just always have to go so high. And I think that the power sets that you find amongst mutants, because you got people on X-Men teams like Jubilee,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
who like she serves a purpose,
But
but you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah. Um, you could maybe try to make like Martian Manhunter can phase through walls. That's I guess similar as being able to bamf your way into a room, but you have to like the ability to teleport has to be line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Not
X-Men
necessarily
And
been
it
in
would
that
be
spot before.
nobody seems superpowered. They all seem like they can die
yeah,
from a random stray bullet.
Oh, they can all
yeah,
die,
yeah,
with the exception of
yeah, like,
Wolverine.
he's not like he's extra strong. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, or something like that. On top of that, too, like one like Wonder Woman's a god, Superman is a god, Martian Manhunter's a god.
Essentially.
Like in terms of like their power, like you know what I'm saying, what they can all do. Like
Flash.
technically, Flash is a god. It's the god of speed. You know what I'm saying? Like technically, he's a god. Like
I guess same thing even goes with Aquaman. Like, God of the waters.
Yeah, like yeah, Aquaman's definitely a god. You know what I'm saying? Like the
God
Justice
level.
League is
Batman will beat on
super
It's
it.
Justice
OP,
Lords. That's why we got the.
and none of them have like regular problems for real. You know what I'm saying? Like at worst, it's like Superman as Clark Kent can't quite get Lois to go out on a date with him. I mean, okay. I mean, okay.
Just tell you,
You know
that's
what I'm
all.
saying?
I'm Superman. You want to go out on a date with me now? Just call it a
Yeah.
day.
I just, yeah, I don't think it's the same thing. What's up, Jocelyn? Yeah, I don't find that the X-Men. I think the X-Men are much better balanced.
Mhm.
And I think that the enemies that they face and deal with in terms of like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or something like that
Mhm.
are also much more balanced.
Yeah.
But then when they do get
Don't
like
get me wrong.
that one big bad, like Apocalypse
Yeah,
can be a challenge for him. Like,
Come together.
yeah,
Here we go. Do damage.
yeah, like Storm is a god. Let's not
yep.
get it twisted.
Storm is most
Storm's
definitely
basically a god. Iceman's basically a god.
Phoenix.
Phoenix
Jean
is a
Grey.
god.
Phoenix is a god, but Phoenix isn't one of the X-Men. I'm just saying. Like Jean
Jean
Grey,
Grey is
godlike abilities. I'm just saying. And I guess technically Professor X could do some very godlike things. But they still are all gonna have issues with Magneto. By himself.
Yeah.
And he shows up with other people. You know what I'm saying? And it's a wreck. But Magneto, John like put hands on them by himself.
all of them. Yep.
Oh yeah. Magneto Savage.
Right? I mean, don't like I'm not like Professor X had to kill him to like he had to kill him. He had to turn
Yeah.
off his brain. It gave us Onslaught. That was a terrible thing. Still,
Onslaught punishing everybody.
what, bro?
The whole universe had to come together to stop that.
When your whole universe has to come together to beat the one, like, yeah, we got a
Onslaught
problem.
was the two. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the X-Men
Tony
were-
hit the money on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, the X-Men struggle to beat Juggernaut.
Dog.
One dude, just the whole team out there trying to figure out what they gonna do. How they gonna make this
Professor X
happen?
is like,
So
yo,
he's gonna
get that helmet
pause.
off. Get that helmet
Yeah,
off. That's all we can do.
yeah. Justice League is definitely more OP
Oh yeah.
than
Oh,
the
yeah.
X-Men.
100%.
That's a definite.
Yeah, like nobody has. Is there anybody on the X-Men that technically has super strength besides like Colossus?
Colossus? Nah, I don't think. Nah, Colossus be the only one.
She stole it to get it, but she got it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like,
That's
she-
true.
Should have take it back.
Yeah, but you know, but here's the thing. Like even with her, like her power itself is a weakness for her. Like what technically her ability is a weakness for her, right? I gotta wear gloves, can't touch people, can't have contact. Like there's a whole thing that is, you know what I'm saying? Like Wonder Woman just block every bullet, cause why not?
With my sweatbands.
What? Bruh, stop it. Like, yo, I'm just, yeah, I can't. I can't, bruh. It's just,
Wait till the movie comes on demand. I'm gonna have some fun with that.
yeah, look, no doubt. All right, listen, we've had a good time. We've run for like an extra 25 minutes.
Hey,
So, you know, we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah, robots were a problem for him. Sentinels.
Sentinels.
Yes, dog.
Just
Yeah.
robots.
Listen, created by a dude with no powers, whose son was also a mutant. Bruh, so it's like, come on, man. Like, yeah, it's very different, man. Like, I don't know. It's not like they don't have characters of that ilk in Marvel. Like Hercules exists in Marvel.
Yeah.
For, you know,
You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Galactus.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's Galactus ain't even that's not even an X-Men enemy.
No, that's just a
That's a
Marvel.
Fantastic Four enemy. And they terrible.
I was about to say the worst team.
They get the super big bad. Like
If I had to pick any group of heroes out of the entire Marvel universe to fight Galactus, it ain't gonna be the Fantastic Four.
I know they did the top.
I take any sect of X people, X
I don't
Calibers, X Factors, X
I would
Men.
take anybody off the C-16 bus over over I would take the
Hey, look, yeah, down on the ground with the defenders. Like, you know what,
Oh my god. Oh, then the Fantastic Four. Crap.
bruh? Like, I can't, man.
Crap.
Oh man.
Woo.
All right, that was wonderful, y'all. That
Oh man.
was wonderful, y'all.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Look, one more time for all of those who are in and or are just joining. I want to make sure that you guys are aware that we do have some merch that is up for sale. For sale again, it is limited time and limited quantity. So if you check our Facebook post, our Instagram, you can find out how to grab that. Thank you to all you guys who have already purchased shirts. We are beginning to run low, so just keep that in
Yeah.
mind. If you intend
Yes.
to grab shirts,
Do it
please do
quick.
so. We will not do cutscenes tomorrow. We will do cutscenes on Thursday this week. So no show tomorrow. I'm expecting that there'll be some kind of news that happens between now and then. We'll have to talk
Yeah, yeah.
because that's just kind of how it's been.
Yeah.
If not, there will be a power show. We are continuing to work on a new show called Snacking and Hanging. We're playing some video games and eating some snacks and just kind of having some regular conversation. I know some of you got a chance to check that out if you're one of our Patreon supporters. We uploaded a pilot episode that, came out okay. We're working out some kinks and trying to get some things again. We're, trying to figure out
Work it
some new
out.
ways to get some stuff recorded. We do have
Work
some
it
new
out.
things in the works. Sin is working on a new season of Anime Vault. Jokes is working on a new wrestling series, which I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy. So yes, there are still some other things that are coming down the pipe for sure. So keep your eyes open for that. Sin, can you shout out the Patreon supporters that are at the top level for us,
Of
please?
course. Shout out to Anthony Cunningham. Shout out to Ellis. Shout out to Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Victoria Ford. Thank you very much for your support. We really, really, truly appreciate it.
It's super true. It's super duper true. We launched a new Facebook page, Loading Snacks Gaming. We're pushing more gaming content there. We have a new YouTube channel, Snack Bites by Loading Snacks, where we are focusing on gaming and snacks. So we're continuing to push content out there. On Tuesday nights, we re-air weekly on Rip Radio TV on Rip TV. So ripradio.com. You can check us out there if you happen to miss an episode and you want to catch up on what's going on there. That happens at 10 o'clock every Tuesday. So I want to shout out that team and the folks over there who are doing good work and thank them for letting us be a part of it there. I think that's it. We will be doing shirts for breast cancer. Haven't quite figured out what they're going to be yet, but we'll be doing that. So you'll be looking for that next month. We also have Extra Life coming up.
Yes.
So 24 hours of straight gaming, all for a good cause. We raised a lot of money last year, and we really want to do it again. So hopefully we'll be able to surpass what we did last year. That's what I want. So we're putting plans together for that. There's a lot happening. I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Greatly appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you're following us across all socials. With that, we are out. Toodles and loos. What it do, snackers and snackettes? Did you like what you just saw? Would you like to help us grow? Here's what you can do. Shoot over to patreon.com/loading snacks. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on your favorite platform of choice. Appreciate you.